A credit card and a mortgage are the same thing. Both are debt. Someone hands you money now, you pay it back later with interest. You've been taught they're opposites. One's good debt, one's bad debt. Sort your loans into the right buckets and you'll be fine. That advice isn't just oversimplified. It's the reason millions of people who believe they're being responsible are quietly getting poorer. Whether a debt makes you richer or poorer has almost nothing to do with what you borrowed it for. It comes down to a single number. One most borrowers have never calculated for even one of their loans. By the end of this video, you'll be able to run that number on your mortgage, your car loan, and your credit card, and know in dollars which ones are building your wealth and which ones are draining it. The people who use debt to get rich aren't smarter than you. They just know this number. I know how that sounds. Let me earn it. Debt has exactly one definition. Someone gives you money now, and you agree to give it back later, plus a fee for the privilege. That fee is the interest rate. A mortgage, a car loan, a student loan, a credit card balance, the money a corporation raises, the money the federal government borrows. Every one of them is the same instrument. Money now, money back later, plus a rate. The difference is people fixate on what you bought with it, whether it felt responsible, whether your parents would approve, are labels stuck on the outside of the box. The machine inside the box is identical. The standard advice takes that machine and drops it into one of two bins. Good debt, a mortgage, a student loan, anything that buys an asset. Bad debt, a credit card, a payday loan, anything that buys a depreciating thing or a good time. It is the most repeated idea in personal finance, and it is wrong often enough to be dangerous. It is wrong because it sorts debt by what you bought, when the thing that actually determines whether a debt builds your wealth or drains it is something the purchase never touches. Here is the rule the entire video runs on. A debt makes you poorer or richer based on a single comparison. The interest rate on the debt against the return you could earn on that same money somewhere else. That is the whole thing. Not what you bought, not whether it felt responsible. The rate against the alternative. Look at it the way the lender does, just flipped around. When you carry a debt at a given rate, you are effectively guaranteeing yourself a loss at that rate. A balance at 20% is a guaranteed 20% drain every year until it's gone. So ask the only question that matters. Could that same money have reliably earned more than 20% somewhere else? Almost never. So the debt drains you. Now flip it. A fixed debt at 3%, while your money earns 8 or 10% invested, that debt is quietly making you richer because you are borrowing cheap and earning more. Same instrument, opposite outcome. The only thing that changed was the number. Every dollar figure in the rest of this video is that one rule, operating on real loans owed by real people. So let me introduce two of them. Meet Jake. By every conventional measure, Jake is responsible. He has never missed a payment in his life. He keeps a budget. He pays bills the day they arrive. He would tell you with complete sincerity that he is good with money. Jake also carries about $8,000 on his credit card, month to month, the way roughly half of American cardholders do. He thinks of it as a manageable background fact of adult life, like a phone bill. He puts a couple $100s toward it each month, the balance drifts down slowly, and he feels fine. Here is what Jake has never calculated. His card charges 21.5%, the average rate Americans actually pay on the balances they carry. On $8,000, that is $1,720 a year, in interest alone. Not paying down the debt, renting it. That is $143 every month leaving his account and accomplishing nothing. Money that disappears before it touches a single dollar of what he owes. And because Jake pays only about $200 a month, most of which is interest, the debt is extraordinarily patient. At that pace, it takes him 71 months, nearly 6 years to clear an $8,000 balance. And along the way, he hands the bank $6,200 in interest. He pays over $14,000 to retire an $8,000 debt. Jake, the one who never misses a payment, is running a small permanent donation to his bank, and he has never once felt it as a crisis because it never arrives as one. Now meet Brian. Some of you met Brian in the last video. He is the one who bought the house. Brian has a 30-year fixed mortgage at 6.5%. By the good debt, bad debt sorting, Brian is fine. A mortgage is good debt, end of story. But Brian's defining trait is not his mortgage. It is what he refuses to do. Brian does not carry a balance on anything that costs more than that mortgage. No revolving card, no financed furniture, no stack of buy now, pay later. When he has money left over each month, it does not drift in checking and it does not feed a credit card balance because he doesn't have one. It goes to work. Say Brian invests $500 a month, the same kind of money Jake is feeding to his card. At a 10% return, the long-run figure people quote for the stock market, $500 a month grows to about $102,000 in 10 years, $380,000 in 20, and just over $1.1 million in 30. I want to be honest about that last number, the way this channel always is. 10% is the nominal figure, before inflation. In today's real dollars, it lands closer to $610,000. Still, from $500 a month, and from nothing more exotic than refusing to stand on the wrong side of a line. Look at what divides these two men, because it is not income, and it is not discipline. Jake is disciplined. He pays every bill on time. It is not even the presence of debt. Both of them have it. The only difference is which side of one line they are standing on. Jake's money is committed at 21.5%, working against him. Brian's money is committed at 10%, working for him, while his cheapest debt sits below that. Same paycheck. Same instrument. One number, pointed in opposite directions. So what is that line exactly? Where does it sit? That is the number nobody calculates. And it is worth getting precisely right. The line is the point where your debt's interest rate crosses the return you could earn on your money elsewhere. Below the line, the debt is cheaper than what your money can earn, so you keep the debt and put the money to work. Above the line, the debt costs more than your money can earn, so you kill the debt first. Every debt decision in personal finance is just locating this one crossover, loan by loan. So where is it? You need a number for what your money earns elsewhere, and the honest answer has two versions. The safe version, cash in a high-yield savings account, or Treasury bills, earns about 4% right now with no risk. The ambitious version, money in the stock market, has returned about 10% a year over the long run. But that return is neither guaranteed nor smooth. Put them together, and a practical line appears. Above roughly 8%, a debt almost certainly costs more than you could reliably earn anywhere, so you attack it. Below roughly 6%, especially when the rate is fixed, you are usually better off keeping the debt and investing the difference. Between 6 and 8% is a genuine gray zone, where the answer turns on your taxes, your risk tolerance, and whether the rate can climb on you. One detail makes the line sharper than it first appears. Paying off a debt is not just a return, it is a guaranteed, tax-free return. When you invest and earn 10%, the government takes a cut of the gain. When you erase a 20% debt, you keep the entire 20%, and no tax touches it. Because you are not earning income, you are removing an expense. That is why high-rate debt is worse than it looks, and why killing it is better than it looks. Which brings us to the single most useful fact in this video. Go back to Jake's card at 21.5%. When Jake pays it off, he is not avoiding a bill. He is earning a return, a guaranteed, tax-free 21.5%. Now hold that against every investment he has ever been pitched. The stock market's celebrated long-run return is about 10%, and it is risky, and it is taxed. The best savings account on earth pays him about 4%. There is no legal investment available to a normal person that reliably pays 21.5%, tax-free, at zero risk. And yet it was sitting in Jake's own mailbox the whole time, disguised as a bill. Paying off that card beats the expected return of the stock market by more than 11 percentage points a year, guaranteed. The highest returning, lowest risk investment most people will ever have access to is the high interest debt they already owe. This is where the good debt, bad debt sorting falls apart completely. It would have told Jake exactly what it tells everyone. Credit card bad, pay it down eventually. without ever revealing that paying it down was the single best investment of his life. And it is also, strangely, where the very rich walk into the story. You have probably heard that the wealthy use debt to get richer, that they borrow instead of selling, that there is some trick the rest of us are locked out of. There is a version of this that is pure fantasy, sold by people who want to put you in a course. And there is a version that is completely real. And the real one is just the rule from this video. Run at scale. The real version has a name. Buy, borrow, die. The idea is plain. The wealthy buy assets that appreciate, stocks, real estate, whole companies. They hold them so the gains are never sold and never taxed. And when they need cash, they don't sell the asset and pay the tax. They borrow against it at a low rate and let the asset keep growing. They are borrowing cheap and earning more, the left side of our line, using debt on purpose because the math runs in their favor. The strategy is real enough that lawmakers keep trying to close it, and prominent enough that Jeff Bezos went on television this year to deny he uses it at all, saying he didn't even know where the idea came from. Whether or not any single billionaire uses it, the mechanism is not exotic. It is the same rule Brian is using on his mortgage. Here is that mechanism scaled to a normal person. Imagine you need $50,000 and you have it sitting in investments. The obvious move is to sell, but selling triggers tax. Say 30,000 of it is gains, taxed at 15%. So you hand the government $4,500 and you give up all the future growth on what you sold. Now, the other move, borrow the $50,000 against the portfolio at around 7% and leave the investments alone to keep compounding at 10. You pay 7, you earn 10, you keep the 3-point spread, about $1,500 in the first year, and you defer the entire tax bill, that is buy, borrow, die, minus a few zeros. Same rule, same line. I am not going to pretend this is free. Borrowing against your investments adds real risk. If the assets fall hard, the loan can be called, and you can be forced to sell at the worst possible moment. This is the advanced end of the spectrum, and it is not where anyone should start. I include it because it proves the point. What the rich are doing with debt is not a different game. It is the same line you now know how to find, with more zeros and more risk attached. So here's the answer to the question we opened with. Debt and wealth are not opposites. They are the same lever. Point it below the line. Borrow cheap, earn more. And debt builds wealth, whether you are Brian with a mortgage or a billionaire with a stock portfolio. Point it above the line, borrow expensive, earn nothing. And the identical instrument drains you, whether you are Jake with a credit card or anyone who never checked the number. The rich did not get handed a different tool, they just learned which way to point it, which means the only thing left to do is point yours. Pull up every debt you have and write its interest rate next to it. Then lay each one against the line. A credit card at 21.5%, far above the line, the highest return payoff available to you. Attack it first. A payday loan or a buy now, pay later balance creeping toward 30%. An emergency. Treat it like one. A personal loan around 12%, above the line, next in the queue. A car loan near 9%, above the line, though the gap is smaller. A student loan around 6.5%. Gray zone. Keep paying it on schedule and invest alongside it. A fixed mortgage at 6.5%. Gray zone. Leaning toward keep, the same call Brian made, and an honest one, because paying it down is a guaranteed 6.5% while investing the difference is only a probable 10 that could disappoint. The mortgage is not a slam dunk in either direction, and anyone who tells you it obviously is hasn't run the number. Notice what this does. It throws out the good debt, bad debt bins entirely and replaces them with a single ranked list, ordered by rate, highest first. You attack from the top until you drop below the line, then you stop attacking and start investing. One exception is worth naming. If your employer matches retirement contributions, capture that match before anything else, because a 50% match is a 50% instant return that beats even the credit card. After that, the line decides. The identical logic quietly runs on the asset side, too. Keep cash in a typical big bank savings account, paying the national average of 0.38%, and $50,000 earns you $190 a year. The same 50,000 in a high-yield account at 4% earns 2,000 more than 10 times as much for identical safety, both insured. It is the mirror image of the debt rule. The same money, the same risk, a wildly different rate, and the only variable is whether you bothered to check. Step back and look at what this is worth across a lifetime. Brian and Jake earn the same paycheck. Brian invested his surplus from the start. Jake spent nearly 6 years clearing a card before he could begin. That head start, simply being on the right side of the line first, is worth about $174,000 between them over 30 years. Not from earning more, from pointing the same lever the right way sooner. Debt is not good or bad. It is a rate measured against an alternative, and that comparison is something you can run on every loan you own in about the time it takes to read the rate off a statement. The people who use debt to build wealth are not working a secret. They checked a number you can check too. Now you know which number and which way it points. If you want to run the line on your own debts, your actual balances, your actual rates, your real expected return, I built a tool that does it. You enter each loan and it shows you, in dollars, which side of the line every one of them is on, which to attack first, and what carrying each one is costing you against what that money could be earning instead. It is part of the Wealth Logician's calculator vault alongside every other tool we've built for the channel. Becoming a member gets you the whole vault and a community of people who are actually running their own numbers instead of guessing. If that sounds useful, the link is in the description. Hit like if this changed how you see a loan, subscribe if you want to do the math on the next one, and I'll see you in the next video.